2 months. I have been working on this clutch master cylinder for the last 2 entire months. It has been the biggest hurdle I have faced yet on this build. I honestly don't think that wiring, sanding, or painting altogether will be as terrible as how this has been for me. I've had it on and off the car 6 times. I have tried to bleed it 4 times. I have effectively poured 4 cans of brake fluid all over my floor 4 times. I finally bit the bullet, pulled out the slow rake, tied it up, changed the reservoir to a smaller reservoir, and tried to gravity bleed it. I can no longer push the piston in, so I think it's ready to install. I don't know, we'll find out. According to my arm meter, it's ready to go. I don't know. But that has taken me 2 months. In the interim, I've had to juggle microphones and cameras and playing with that, so this video is going to be full of pretty awful audio and video, is my guess. But luckily, it's a short video. Another obstacle I ran into in the early 90s on the LT1 engines, Corvette was awesome, and they decided to have on the pressure tank a 15/16 hose that goes into a 3/4 hose on the top, and on the bottom they have a 15/16 hose that goes into a 5/8 hose. So trying to find the correct adapters for that has been a while. They were on back order with the correct hoses for 2 months. So I've been on pause with a lot of the headache while I've tried to juggle this and figure out how to build this. But I finally got there, and I think it's ready to go in. So quickly, we'll try to put this in today after I show you what else I've been up to, and should be a pretty quick update. When I lifted off the body, I accidentally left one of the brake lines on or something. I can't really remember. I remember I had to emergency cut them. And word to the wise, if you have a brake booster, there are different brake lines than there are for non-brake booster cars. So people probably knew that. I guess I was in a rush and I didn't. You just got to make sure you can see that it says non-power. So when it says non-power like that, those are for the non-booster. So you got to make sure the ones that say front rear power brake right there. So this should be fairly simple. Well, I'm not going to say that yet. I don't know if it's going to be fairly simple. As you can see, I took a little finagling on the rear one to get it bent correctly. I had to flatten the line out. Brakes are on, so let's see. Brake lines. Whoop. This is the coolant pressure reservoir. That is the name I just made up for it. So this has to be the highest place in the engine for coolant to air out. So I'm going to try to put it right in here and build something like this to put it up in here. Now I got to figure out, I'm going to stick this in there, and I bought a bunch of stuff to do that with. So okay, so how do I hold it? How am I going to hold it right there? Just do this. Let's see. see, where else do I need to weld down? Right there. A little hot still, so probably need to let it cool off. To speed things up a little bit, because I really hate drilling holes a lot. If you can see where I've marked every 2 inches, I'm just going to make a whole bunch of tabs, and then these will go on the fender wall. Then I can weld supports to them after I bolt them onto the fender. On my list of to-dos, this is one of the worst, most difficult ones that I've had to do, but here's what I ended up doing. I'm still in the middle of it, but while I have the reservoir out, I thought I'd show you. I'm just tacking on some braces, and then I took the pump out so I could finish reaching that one back there and that one down there, the one right in there. So this is where the reservoir is going to sit. Turned out really sturdy, actually. Now I need to get it up, finish welding it, finish smoothing it out, and of course paint it. I had some video malfunctioning, so a lot of these steps will be skipped. It'll be okay. Result. It's weird how the light pulse can be seen. I don't know how to fix that yet. Finish welding the last little tab on. Waiting for it to now I'm just watching paint dry, so I can test fit the reservoir and then hook it up and be done with this little portion of it. Check this out. Got it in, and very stout. So that turned out pretty great. Just gotta let the paint dry. Got a little excited about it. For the overflow tank, I didn't show any of this for some reason, but I need the overflow line that comes from the pressurized tank to feed down to the bottom, so then if it overflows, if it pressurizes and pushes coolant out, I need it to be able to suck coolant back in. Took one of these fittings out and I drilled it out, I tapped it, and now it will go in. I'll hook a hose to this end that will reach down to the bottom, and it will solve that problem. You can see the overflow. I have it drilled into the fender. Fits right under the pressurized tank. I ran into a little bit of an obstacle. I started to check my clutch system off so I could just move on to the next thing, but it's turned into a giant ordeal, actually. I had this AFCO master cylinder all set up, and I had welded on a bracket to the clutch pedal, and I welded it on too low, so it was only getting about an inch of movement on the pedal. That was a little concerning. I filled it with fluid anyway, and it all ran out because I was missing a port. So I ordered a port, and while that was coming, kind of read up on it, and I don't know if I can get this one to work how I want it to. I want to move it up into the system. I thought about doing some type of bracketry, but I don't want to overcomplicate it. This is a nice reservoir. I might come back to that later. Custom Image Corvettes sells a master cylinder that looks similar to this. This is for a 1983 C10 truck, and I think it's the same thing that Custom Image has. This is $24. His is $200, but he has gone through and threaded the shaft and made it fit a C3. So I bought this. I have this crap, and I'm going to now cut and weld on this, and then it has an adjuster, and I'm just going to use this. And So now it's, and I've cut this ear off so it fits up against the, what is that called? The brake booster. And so I ground that off. Now I got to drill some holes. This one also, part of my problem is this one goes at an angle and it kind of gives the same leverage I need for the clutch pedal. This one is flush, but the bigger problem is that this hole, the diameter of this is much bigger than this $23 one. And so I will have to re-drill the firewall if I want to use this and tilt it. This one's already fits into the normal hole and it's already tilted. So I'm just going to go with this. We'll see how it turns out. The clutch is done. I'll show you what I did. To be extremely honest, all of it was pretty awful. So first, the clutch is right there. The master cylinder came through. I linked it up. I welded it. I welded it a little bit short. Plus, I'm not ecstatic about how the pedal layout came. It's about a ½ inch further. I'm hoping it engages the entire way. If not, I'll have to use the AFCO and put it right here again, and it will make it a harder clutch to go through. The second thing that I did, I was getting ready to put the neutral clutch safety switch in, and I noticed tucked way up in there where those leads go to, there already, let's see, there already is one, and I don't know if it worked. I mean, it worked when I took the car apart. So I hooked these leads to it, and it's gonna work. So I'm gonna have the clutch engaged, start the car. I can now hook the neutral safety switch leads directly to the stock one and get those crossed off the list. Got that rascal in. I think I'm gonna call it a success. I will waiting on 2 adapter pieces for the coolant. So I'll get those, toss those in next video. And, ooh, here's what we're gonna do right now. Right now, clutch switch, clutch line bleed. So we'll leave off there and we'll get to 1, 2, ooh, that one's gonna suck. I think we can finish most of those in the next 2 weeks. Boom.